between first and second. It's taken me, I finally talked to the doctor who examined him that morning. He was taken right from the morgue. He was one of the first 10 bodies found. At first, we were upset that we thought that Merrill Lynch was running a seminar on the 106th floor. And we thought that, geez, maybe he was up there, but the fact that we found the body, we figured, how could that have happened? And then, my wife even said, do you think he jumped? Well, the thought of that was just, although I really admire the people who did, because they made the decision how they're going to die. And that's probably the most courageous act I've ever could think of. But through my investigation, when I do the 9/11 investigations, I'm also trying to find out exactly how my son died. And I want you all to put yourself in my shoes. It's hard enough losing a child. But then when your child's murdered, and people say, well, if you haven't found any closure, you'll never find closure. I think the best way to look at it is that your suffering isn't as bad as it used to be. A psychiatrist told me, we did a lot of therapy. It's tough on families. And we had to work these through. My wife doesn't want to talk about 9/11, which I don't blame her. But he said, it's like you have a $50 bill right afterwards, and you just can't see anything. Plus, years go by, that goes out here, so you see peripherally. I can laugh. At first, your suffering is just as overwhelming. You grieve. But the pain is still there, and I make the decision to keep the pain. It's important. But this is why 9/11 families don't get involved. Who wants to go through this shit? Really, it's tough. So, that morning is very important to me, how he died. Did he suffer? And again, put yourself in my shoes. Now, put yourself in my shoes and think of this. Your loved one, your child, daughter, or son were murdered. This is a murder, regardless of who did it. Now, I go to all these investigations, or all the commission hearings. Now, let me just read. Now, Bobby died, I'm 100% sure, he died as the plane hit or even before the plane hit, and that's what I want to talk about. Okay? Because I sat down, I didn't look at his pictures, I had pictures of him. But at the morgue in New York City said, look, I strongly recommend that you don't look at him. I feel bad that I didn't, I can still look at him if I want, but his wounds or his death, I think it was immediately spontaneous. I don't think he ever knew what hit him, because all his injuries were in the chest, lacerations in the chest. His whole face was blown apart. Over the years, we've actually gotten a piece of his brains, his little pieces of skull. It's brutal, but I feel good getting them. Then we take them home because it's at that dingy little morgue. They have all this stuff in the trailers, and people are really having a difficult time taking these pieces of their body. But I have people in the support group, my support group, that they have nothing. You're talking about a body that's blown to, it's atomized. That's hard to believe, that they have nothing. I have a grave. It's unbelievable. I can go to the grave every week. They have nothing, absolutely nothing, and that's painful. So that morning, the plane hits the North Tower. As the plane goes in, you have the wings, and the wings were immediately sheared off. That's where all the fire is, or all the gasoline or kerosene. It's at a 10% angle, goes from 93rd to the 98th floor. Most of your damage was between 93 or 94, 96. Okay? Now, to show you what a great investigation, I really, really have such contempt for these people in the 9/11 Commission. This is their entire investigation of what happened up there at the towers. On page 285, civilians, fire safety personnel, 9/11 calls. North Tower. A jet fuel fireball erupted upon impact. There was a big explosion. Now they said this said that there was 10,000 gallons of fuel on that plane. And basically, to round things off, they said 33% blew up immediately, 33% filtered itself throughout the floor, and 33% went down elevator bank or banks and caused all this damage. And that's basically what I want to talk about real fast. A jet fuel fireball erupted upon impact and shot down at least one bank of elevators. The fireball exploded onto numerous lower levels, including the 77th and 22nd, the West Side lobby level, and the B4 level, 4 stories below the ground. That's it. So that's, they're explaining how everyone died by just generally saying a fireball. Now, I just want to read these. Tony sent me these. And these are from testimonies, eyewitness testimonies of firemen, EMT workers that went into the building. Can't you find it? How about that? Well, doesn't matter. People that went in, now this is a minute after the plane hit. And again, these are testimonies. Now, I've talked to, I don't know how many firemen, talked about Schroeder, but it seems like the fact that I talked to these people, they told me this, again, people give you this glazed look. But these are testimonials that people had. They walked in. And the big thing that people don't understand, the condition of the lobby. The devastation of people in the lobby. And now I don't know if maybe a family member was here and had someone in the lobby. I don't want to describe their injuries, but a lot of charred people. The lobby of the North Tower, 208 foot square. That's a big lobby. 99 elevators. I remember I was up with Bobby and Jeff one time, and we decided we were going to go to the top. Well, I gave up. It was too complicated to get on those elevators. You have a 3-tier system, or 3-tier system of elevators in the North Tower. You have 24, I think 24, 24. You only had three elevators that went to the top. What you would do, you would go, if you took those tiers, then you get up to the 78th sky lobby. And then from the 78th sky lobby, you would take up to the higher levels. Now, 2 of the express elevators, they said went down 6 and 7. Now, there's one testimony of a fireman that went into, he came into the west side. That's the entrance to the North Tower. So the West Street, Merrill Lynch is right behind, or right across the street. He walked in, and it's a description of some bodies he had seen, but there was an explosion that happened. Now, he got there a minute, 2 minutes after the plane hit. The west side talks about lights are out. Talked about a couple of the bodies he had seen, that they couldn't help these people, yet they were still alive. They were charred. And he mentions that he looks to the side. The express elevator 6A and 6 and 7, they're on the south side and north side. So you're walking in the west side. You have these towers, or the elevators to right and left. Now, he said, I couldn't say for sure, but they looked like they were clear. Everything was fine over there. But the thing that he noticed, that the freight elevators, which are in the middle, the doors were totally blown out. And this is very revealing, because hopefully I'll be able to explain that. And all the windows of the lobby were blown out. Now, this is 208 by 208 square. And the commission says a fireball went down one of the banks, obviously then came into the lobby and blew out all those windows. Well, the destruction of those elevator doors was monumental. They were blown out. And they talked about floor 22, how they came up with floor 22. But this is to show you, they just nitpick. They'll blame 9/11 people for cherry picking. You know, I don't know how many times, and I wish some people, they would say it to my face so I could smack them in the mouth. You know, I'm cherry picking. Well, I'm not cherry picking. Floor 22, which is the security center. Now, had no access to any of the elevators going up, the express elevators. None. So, 9/11 Commission report saying that the fireball destroyed 22. And this is the security center. Not that it's a big deal, but you know, they have access to all the doors open and close because of them. Closed circuit TV. It did hinder the rescue efforts because some doors were unlocked. They couldn't get into them. And then NIST said, and this is phenomenal, NIST said, well, no, it wasn't from a fireball, it was from debris, falling debris. So that means the tower, the plane hit, and all that debris came around the side and decided to break into the 22nd floor and destroy that floor. Well, the whole floor was destroyed. The elevator was blown out. Yet again, 23 and 21 were in pristine condition. Well, that's mind-boggling to me. And now we get to the sub-basement. Again, what do they say? Well, the fireball went down in the sub-basement. Well, I've talked to somebody, Willie Rodriguez. God knows how many conversations I've had with him, and he's really helped me with this because he was in the lobby immediately afterwards. I still haven't found the person that found my son, and they didn't take grids at that time, so I don't have the exact location. But the damage to the lobby is just to the sub-basement is mind-boggling. $10,000 machinery just blown up, the machine shop on the 3rd level, absolutely blown up. Yet what did they talk about explosives? Nothing, absolutely nothing. One fireball comes down. Then you have freight elevator 50. Again, the 9/11 Commission report says, well, and even this, probably 50A they call it, is what caused the problem down at the bottom, because it fell down to the bottom and then exploded. Well, in CNN, guy reports that he was running the 50A, and he had gotten up to approximately the 15th floor, and the plane hits with his cables break. Well, he assumed he was a dead man, because it'll go all the way down to the E6 level. Well, just as it got underground, the emergency brakes. All those elevators have emergency brakes. And it stopped. And then, as soon as it stopped, the door blew in. Well, we got another fireball. It came down the side that blew the 50 freight elevator in. The door blows into the cavity, breaks his leg. Then another explosion, and that's when he loses unconsciousness. He survived. So 50A, in other words, the thought of fire or fuel coming down, any of the things is almost impossible. All the shafts, top to bottom until it got to the bottom, are made of drywall. Well, those gasoline particles, they would be grabbing on. I mean, that's 90-some floors they came down. And they're saying the fireball destroyed the tower. Mr. Schroeder, that Manny talked about. I talked to him, I remember many times, he said, it looked like a plane hit the lobby. That's how bad that lobby was. And we're saying a fireball. It's impossible for a fireball to come out, even if it was coming from the top, to come out and then blow up all those windows in the North Tower. It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Yet, I don't know how many people here have read this. I guarantee you 99% of the people in the United States haven't read this. And I get one goddamn little paragraph to describe how my son was murdered. That's it. Right there. That little stupid thing. They say, well, 2270, lobby and basement were all destroyed because of our stupid-ass fireball they keep talking about. Well, that makes you angry. So with that, talking to the doctor, my son's doctor, or not his doctor, the one that examined him, we sat down for an hour, and he had drawn his body figure and explaining all his injuries. And again, he took everything to the chest and the head. And my end, I got his wallet.